Are fish oils healthy for diabetics to take? Do these omega-3 supplements really help fight against heart disease, high blood pressure, and lower our cholesterol and triglyceride levels? What about insulin resistance? Can taking fish oils really help control our blood sugars better? Are these lofty claims true? Or have we been conned by the biggest supplement scam of all time? Welcome to the Resilient Diabetic. This is the channel we turn ordinary struggling diabetics into extraordinarily well-controlled diabetics. If you are brand new to this channel, I welcome you. My name is Jay Sampat. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that gray notification bell. That way you will be alerted when new life-changing episodes have been published. And if you learned something new today, I would love if you smashed that like button for me. As with all my videos, this should not be considered personal medical advice. This is my interpretation of the latest research. If you want medical advice, please always consult your physician. According to the National Center for Health Statistics, fish oil is now the most commonly used non-vitamin, non-mineral supplement. Market size for finished products containing omega-3s was $3.2 billion in 2018. The global fish oil market is expected to reach $5.4 billion by 2026. But just as omega-3 fish oil has grown in popularity, so has the misinformation and confusion around this very powerful nutrient. I bet you're asking, what is so special about fish oils? For one, it is loaded with these omega-3 fatty acids, and they must come from the foods we consume since our bodies cannot make them. The two key omega-3 fatty acids are DHA and EPA for short. Fatty cold water fish like salmon, sardines, herring, albacore tuna, lake trout, mackerel, sardines, and even algae are rich in these omega-3s. Some plants and seeds contain another type of omega-3 fatty acid, and this is really important to understand. They are called alpha-linoleic acid, or ALA for short. The first problem with these omega-3 from plants, they are inactive. Our bodies have to convert it into the active form, DHA and EPA. Plant sources of these are flaxseed, chia seeds, walnuts, and pumpkin seeds. The main reason we would want to take fish oil is for its anti-inflammatory effects. On paper, this is to help fight against heart disease, high blood pressure, high triglycerides and cholesterol, even rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, and inflammatory bowel disease. In addition, fish oil is used to treat depression, bipolar disorder, postpartum depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia. Even the Alzheimer's Association recommends eating fish to protect against dementia. For us diabetics in particular, the main reason we would want to take these supplements are because we know diets rich in omega-3s decrease insulin resistance. But herein lies the first problem. Our diets are void of these precious omega-3s. We are now consuming high amounts of its nemesis, omega-6 fatty acids. That is because the consumption of animal foods that are high in omega-3s is at its lowest it's ever been. We have substituted animal fats with vegetable oils, margarines, salad dressings, and other processed packaged foods, which has resulted in a drastic increase in omega-6 consumption. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are cheap vegetable oils, are in everything now, and they account for 21% of the total fat intake, mostly in the form of these omega-6 fatty acids. These special omega-3 and 6 fatty acids are different than most other fats. They are not used to supply the body with direct energy. They are active and have important roles to create biochemical signals that control the processes like blood clotting and inflammation. In other words, they are very important messengers that tell our cells to perform specific functions. Omega-3s and omega-6s do not have the same effect. Omega-6s are what's known as pro-inflammatory, while the omega-3s, as we now know, are anti-inflammatory. Of course, inflammation is essential for our survival. It helps protect the body from infections and injury, but it can also cause severe damage and contribute to disease when it remains chronic or excessive. In fact, we now know chronic inflammation is the leading driver of modern diseases, including heart disease, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, arthritis, Alzheimer's, and many forms of cancer. Anthropological evidence suggests that the ratio human beings evolved was eating somewhere around a 1-to-1 ratio, while that ratio today is around 16-to-1, and the standard American diet provides us with a whopping 20-to-1. The world as a whole is now eating large amounts of these processed and very cheap seed and vegetable oils. Everything they eat is made with these oils. This is why countries like India and China are in deep trouble, especially with the sheer number of diabetics, and it is exploding. The technology to process these oils did not exist until about 100 years ago. So, our hardwired genes have not had time genetically to adapt to the high amounts of these omega-6s. In other words, these pro-inflammatory oils are at such high levels, they are slowly killing the world. In this graph, you can see the dramatic increase in soybean oil consumption in the United States from 0. And I'll repeat that again, from 0 to 24 pounds, that's 11 kilograms per person per year. Soybean oil is currently the biggest source of omega-6 fatty acids in the U.S. diet because it is so cheap and is found in all sorts of processed, packaged foods. Now you know why the human body is so chronically inflamed and sick all the time. Now that we have a solid background and understanding of these fatty acids, we can ask our first question. Can fish oils help correct that ratio or imbalance? If these fish oils come directly from the fish and they are high in omega-3s, then it should be good for us, right? Fish oils is the fat or the oil that is extracted from fish tissue. Around 30% of the fish oil is made up of those omega-3s, while the remaining 70% are other types of fats. What's more, fish oil usually contains vitamin A and vitamin D. That sounds great. They're easy, they're convenient, and they're cheap. What's not to like? But you know me, and that is why you're subscribed. There's always more to the equation. Let's clear up some common myths about omega-3 fish oil supplements, focusing primarily on dose, sources, and freshness. Myth number 1. All omega-3 sources are said to be equally beneficial, from salmon to flax seeds to chia seeds and walnuts. The web is full of falsifying claims. Not all of these omega-3 sources provide the same value. When we talk about omega-3s, we are talking about a family of fatty acids. Of the foods we commonly eat, only fatty fish and breast milk for babies contain the full range of the omega-3 family, including DHA and EPA. And I must remind you, plant sources, in contrast, contain only one type of the omega-3, the ALA, the precursor, the inactive form. Next, let's look at some key studies, and this is where things start to get ugly. The British Medical Journal did a systematic review, a meta-analysis, if you will, of randomized controlled trials of over 80 studies. So, this is the gold standard. They looked specifically at diabetes and found no evidence that these supplements, fish oils in particular, provide any benefits. And why would that be? To begin to answer that question, we can look at this study of fish oil supplements on glucose and lipid metabolism in non-insulin dependent diabetics. They studied the effects of fish oils in subjects who aged between 42 and 65 years of age with mild non-insulin dependent diabetes. One set of subjects was fed the standard diabetic diet with no supplementation. They were considered the baseline. A second set were given 10 grams of fish oil concentrate. The third, 10 grams of safflower oil, given daily over a 3-week period. Remember, safflower oil is a vegetable oil high in omega-6s. A double-blind crossover design was used, and at the end of each diet period, fasting blood glucose, insulin levels, and lipids were then measured. To their surprise, fasting blood glucose increased 14% during the fish oil and 11% during the safflower oil supplementation compared to that baseline. There was no significant changes in fasting plasma total, high-density lipoprotein, and low-density lipoprotein cholesterol levels. In summary, these dietary fish oil supplements adversely affected our glycemic control without producing any significant beneficial effects on plasma lipids. And here's the bomb drop. The effects of safflower oil, which is high in these pro-inflammatory omega-6s, was not significantly different from the fish oil. They incorrectly suggested the negative effects on glucose metabolism may be related to the extra energy or fat intake. Boy, how wrong they are, and here is why. This landmark 2015 study done in New Zealand speaks volumes. They evaluated the quality and content of all encapsulated fish oil supplements marketed and available in New Zealand. Only 3 of the 32 supplements contain quantities of omega-3s that were equal or higher than what was labeled. And it gets worse. The vast majority of supplements exceeded the recommended levels of oxidation markers. Surprisingly, best before dates, cost, country of origin, and exclusivity were all poor markers of supplement quality. A follow-up study done in 2018 evaluated a multi-year database of nearly 2,000 batches of EPA DHA oils and supplements. It revealed the predominant majority were also highly oxidized products. They were all rancid, which is poisonous to our bodies. No matter what these supplement companies are trying to sell you, it is impossible to keep these fish oils from oxidizing and going bad. Think of fish in general. Once caught, they have to be chilled and put on ice. Once exposed to warm temperatures, fish goes bad, and immediately, faster than any other protein source. What makes us think it will be any different with fish oils? Where do these fish oil supplements eventually end up? Sitting on that store shelf for months, exposed to, yes, light, heat, and oxygen. These three will always spoil these artificial man-made products, and they know this. Once an oil has been exposed and starts to oxidize, there is no going back. So in other words, if you are using these oils, you are doing more damage than good. And now you also know, while that smell test they insist on is absolutely useless. In my humble opinion, I would avoid these at all costs. And that especially includes giving them to children and those who are pregnant. We all unfortunately need to grasp this important concept in diabetes. Quick and easy fixes do not come in bottles. But there is great news. In order to live that long, healthy life free of complications, we as diabetics can turn to our diet first and foremost. And in this case, all we have to do is to rebalance the overall omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. You should be consuming omega-3 rich cold water fatty fish or fish in general on a daily basis if possible, not only for better balance, but for its superior protein it provides. You get a 2-for pure, unadulterated omega-3s and the absolute best sources of protein one could ever eat. And I've stated this before, the most important macronutrient for us diabetics that we should continually focus on is our protein intake. Always eat marine sources of omega-3s over vegetable sources such as flax seeds, hemp, and chia seeds. Why? You have to consider the limited conversion rate of the precursor ALA into EPA and DHA. Conversion of ALA to EPA is estimated to be at most 8% in healthy adults, while the conversion to DHA is significantly inefficient, varying between 4% to less than 0.1%, depending on which study you look at. You must eliminate all sources of vegetable oils, processed foods from the diet. This is one of the main reasons diabetics cannot control our blood sugars, even if carbs are low and controlled. If you go out to eat, just remember, restaurants and commercial chains only use the cheapest of oils. All of your foods will be marinated and cooked in these vegetable oils. What is the point of eating a treat like fried fish if they use these rancid seed and vegetable oils to cook it in? And they all do. It's a death trap. You must read all ingredient lists and carefully. In the episode, Peanut Butter, Fats, and Diabetes, which I'll put in the description box below if you've missed it, I mentioned to even look on your vitamin D ingredient list. And there you will find soybean oil. And I mentioned if it's on that ingredient list, throw it out and find a manufacturer who uses MCT oil instead. Even your frozen fish hamburger-like patties will have soybean oil used as the binder, which negates all the good the fish provides. That is why, if you're a type 1 diabetic like myself and you're eating those patties, it will raise your blood sugars and you will need more insulin than, say, eating a salmon steak or canned tuna. Pay attention to details. It will save your life. Or maybe that's why you have me instead. I'll set up a playlist for you on more foods that we eat, which ones can literally tear and destroy our bodies over time, and which foods allow us to heal and live that life free of complications. If you're on your desktop or laptop, I want you to use your mouse to click this upcoming box. If you're on your mobile device, just tap that with your fingers. The first is the link to subscribe to this all-important channel. The second is the link to the playlist on your health. So, have a great and productive day, and we will see you soon with another new episode, which are generally released weekly. Bye for now.